Hi everyone, I've had a couple of questions from my viewers asking about this rental car. My car has gone in to be fixed, it should be back shortly, but I'd like to use this opportunity to introduce a new series. I've already got a couple of videos actually uploaded, but it's going to be based on the questions that my viewers actually ask. And this is what we're going to be doing today. People have asked, is there anything about this rental Audi that I prefer over my BMW? I'm going to try and answer that question, and that's going to be the series. It's going to be an Ask Ashley. So if there's any questions that you would like answering in further videos, please stick them down below. But for now, we're going to get driving. I'm going to try and go over a few of the things about this car that I do like, and a fair few things that I don't like, and we'll try and come to a conclusion at the end. Would I swap it for my BMW? Let's go and have a little look. First of all, the car is a 2019, it's 19 plate Audi A5, and it's the 35 TFSI. Didn't even know the specs of it when I picked it up, to be honest, but it's a 2-litre petrol, and it's 150 brake horsepower. It's turbocharged, so there's a fair bit of go to it, but while we're on that, the engine isn't as powerful or as torquey as my 2-litre diesel from the BMW, but there's got to be some eco sort of benefits of having a petrol engine over a diesel engine. And even though my car feels as though it's got a little bit more grunt, personally, I think going forward a petrol engine maybe with a little more power would suit. They do a 2-litre petrol in this, I think it's the 40 TFSI, which is 190 brake horsepower, which would put it somewhere similar to the power output of my car. So ideally, if I was going to swap my car, it would probably be that engine that I go for. Well, we've got this road with the speed bumps on. The ride quality of this Audi isn't like my BMW, and that surprised me, to be honest. I always thought that BMW were the sort of like sporty cars, but the setup and the suspension on this is a little unforgiving. Now, it may have a little bit to do with the size of wheels. I purposefully kept the 18-inch wheels on my car, even when I changed them for different ones, because they're going to be easier to replace when they get trashed on Liverpool's roads. But I think this has got 20-inch wheels on. I can't be certain, I haven't even looked, but it's definitely got bigger wheels than my BMW, and going over speed bumps, it's much less forgiving, and that surprises me about the ride quality. Would it be different with smaller wheels? Well, perhaps, but for me, this coupe, or the 3-door A5, is all about looks, and that's generally what you buy a coupe car for. So would it detract from that if you bought this coupe and then stuck smaller rims on it? Maybe. So is it something that I'm too impressed with the ride quality? No, not really. That moves me nicely onto the looks of the car. I actually think the car looks good. It's sleek. It does look typical Audi, which I haven't got a problem with. I've had an Audi before myself. I've had an A3 back in 2014, and it was a great car, to be honest. No issues with the looks. I do like the look of the coupe, but would it be something that I would be able to live with in my everyday life? Well, the simple answer is no, not a chance. The doors are way too big, they're way too long getting out of this coupe for me, and in car parks I've taken it to the shops a couple of times. it is an absolute pain in the butt. So for me, no. Practicality wise, I would always go for a 4-door rather than this the 3-door or the 2-door coupe. A few people have also asked me about the digital dash or the virtual cockpit. I think this is actually an option on this car. I don't think it comes with every single one in the A5 range, but it is very good. For me, it's quite similar to the one in my BMW. I do prefer how the rev counter revs the supposed correct way in this A5. Mine is on the opposite side and revs sort of back to front. But honestly, the dashboard isn't something that I spend loads of time looking at. I've said before that I manage speed generally by a quick glance and mainly by listening, so it's not something that I use a lot. The actual map and the display inside the dials, it does seem a little busy for me. I do actually prefer the map layout on my BMW, but I haven't even looked into it. You may be able to tell me if you've got one of these virtual cockpits. You can maybe even change the colours or the display. I'm sure you can, but I haven't bothered. But for me, my first impression is it's good. You can change how it looks, but I do still prefer the BMW a little. Next thing that comes to mind, just after slowing down there for those traffic lights, is the gearbox. And all I can say about the automatic gearbox in this Audi is wow. It's been a while since I've driven an automatic gearbox that has been so smooth and seamless. I would go to an automatic at a drop of a hat, and that is one thing that I do have, I wouldn't say criticism of my car, but I did choose the manual because of the work that I do. But looking in hindsight, I probably could have still got away with an automatic, and it probably will be something that I go for next time. I think my car suits the automatic gearbox rather than the manual, just as this does. So yeah, automatic gearbox for me, please. This isn't the first rental car that I've actually had. I did have a Volvo XC60, and this is something that I liked about the Volvo as well, that it's got an automatic handbrake. So once you stop at lights like this, even though the car's still a little cold for the stop start to be working, I've only just got in it, I can take my foot off the brake and it's still just going to hold the handbrake. So it automatically applies it and it automatically releases it. I like that function. Would it be something that I think would be useful in my daily life doing driving lessons? Well, probably not, because I think if you did learn in this car, you would maybe, if you got into a different one, be forgetting about the handbrake quite a lot. It would be something I would have to adapt my teaching to, but personally I do like it and it's a good thing. Now, just looking at my display, this car, since I've started, alright, it did sit for maybe 2 minutes or so while I got the rest of the ice off the window, while it heated up and defrosted as I was sat in the car. It only does 20, probably I've averaged on the little journeys that I've done, which is similar stuff that I do, only average maybe 23-24 miles per gallon. So people say maybe of the eco impact of a diesel engine, yes, I know they chuck out more harmful emissions than the petrols do, but fuel economy wise this uses much more fuel than my diesel BMW. I know things are going that way, but for me it's a little thirsty. I would probably like in something that I was going to drive on a daily basis, I would probably go for a petrol engine and probably a plug-in hybrid system. So that's where I'm really sat with this. Not been too impressed with the economy of this. The rest of the car though, it does feel nice. The fit and finish is good. It's of a good quality. All the materials seem quite nice. Going back to my 2014 A3 that I had, I don't feel as though that they've taken a massive step forward. It looks quite similar here, and this car's 5 years newer. So I feel as though rather than a game-changing sort of like move for the interior, I feel as though they've just updated certain things. All the buttons and the stalks and everything seem virtually identical to my 2014 A3 that I had. The display's different. The controls are quite similar. I don't feel as though Audi have done a superb job with their interior. I'm not sure whether on any of the other models, I think the new A3 that comes out, they've updated the interiors, and it would be quite interesting for me to sit in one of these. I don't know whether this is sort of like a variant of the older interiors or not. Again, anyone with a newer Audi, you could let us know in the comments, but for me the interior is okay. It doesn't feel as special as getting into my 3 Series though. Another thing which surprised me, to be honest, at this price point of car, because this is I think it's about a £40,000 car, brand new. One thing that did surprise me is the lack of a reversing camera. Although I don't need a reversing camera to stick a car in a bay, I can quite comfortably do it in anything. It is something that you actually use quite a lot when you're teaching, or I do. Not solely, but I think it's a useful aid. And even going back to a number of cars that I have had over the years, even the Yaris, some of you remember the Yaris, one of my lads driving that at the minute, he's taken over that car. That had a reversing camera, still got a reversing camera on. The Mercedes A-Class that we've got is the automatic. That's got a reversing camera on. I know my missus's M3 is probably a little bit of a step above in price point, but that's got a reversing camera on. My car's got a reversing camera on, and I'm surprised at this price point with Audi of that being an added extra. So that's not very good. But it does come with a few other things tech-wise. It's got a nice wireless phone charger down there, cruise control. Yeah, it's got a speed limiter on as well. It's got no active cruise control, which again is a little bit of a surprise. One of my lads has just swapped his car for a Seat Ibiza, and it's all singing, all dancing, and that's got active and adaptive cruise control on. So I'm surprised that vehicles of this price point haven't, from the Volkswagen group. So tech-wise it's okay, as with many of the car manufacturers though. That's how they make their extra money, by getting these people, us, to add on these optional extras. But I'm surprised it hasn't got a few more things to it. On the second-hand market, this car at this spec of this age is a similar price point to my BMW. Would I swap my BMW for this? Not in a heartbeat. I'm not a BMW fanboy. I've had all kinds of cars in my time, to be honest, but I always look at the needs for me, and what you're getting for your money. And the whole experience of driving this has been okay, but it doesn't make you feel special. For me, it doesn't engage you. The engine is a little bit lackluster. The fit and finish is okay, it's quite nice, but again, it's not anything special for a £40,000 car. So really, it's left me a little underwhelmed. I know we've only had it for maybe a couple of weeks at most. When it goes back, it's probably going to go back in 2 or 3 days. That's why I've decided to do this when I've done it, but I don't think it would encourage me to go off and change mine for one. Please let us know what you think in the comments, and also don't forget, the reason behind this video is to introduce a new series of Ask Ashley. It's not going to be anything too heavy. Some of the videos might take a little bit more effort and work and a little bit more planning. I don't mind that. Don't mind that at all. Sometimes it might be something really basic, but if you've got any questions whatsoever that you think I might be able to help with, please do ask. And that's it really. I hope that that's been useful for people. I know it's not an everyday car that the everyday person is going to go off and buy. It might even be something that you wish me to do going forward in the future regarding some more lower end vehicles. What about vehicles that we use for driving lessons really commonly? What about a Fiesta? What about a Corsa? Would it be useful for people to see me do a really basic review on those type of cars? Let us know what you think in the comments. But for now, signing off. Keep safe. I'll see you soon.